So this week, Korea's southeastern city of Gyeongju is hosting some 20,000 visitors, including leaders and delegations from 21 APEC member economies. Ahead of APEC 2025, the host city Gyeongju has improved and updated its accommodation, transportation, payment, and language services to fit the occasion of a high-level international event. So let's have a talk on Gyeongju's transformation into a global tourism city with Bae So-young, Professor of Hotel and Tourism Management at Kyung Hee University. Welcome, Professor Bae.
Thank you so much for having me here.
I'm so happy to have you here on the show today. So, Professor Bae, Gyeongju is considered as one of Korea's very well-preserved cities, culturally as well as historically. So what kind of city is Gyeongju to you? And also, what is the significance of the APEC meeting being held in this city?
Yeah, Gyeongju is truly exceptional. So every time I go there, I feel like time really slows down. So it's not just a place to study history, but to actually breathe it. So the entire city is filled with UNESCO World Heritage, like including, well-known Bulguksa Temple and Seokguram Grotto, and also Cheomseongdae Observatory concentrated in one single space. So that's amazing. And hosting the APEC actually carries profound meaning because with leaders from 21 Asia-Pacific economies, including United States, China, Japan, and Russia, it actually creates a lot of socio-economic effects and also cultural ripple effects as well. It's enormous for the host cities. And the fact that these global events take place not in the capital or not in the metropolitan hub, but this Korea's representative historic city, that's even more, special and significant. And also, it's actually the very first time ever that APEC meeting is held in a city filled with UNESCO World Heritage.
So, Professor Bae, may I ask you, when was the last time that you traveled to Gyeongju?
Oh, I was there in last April for a conference. And I just love the cherry blossom there, spring of Gyeongju. That's so beautiful with lots of heritages.
That's why I have been saying that Gyeongju is a perfect place to travel 365 days a year because every season, it's really, the beauty is different. And Professor Bae, the main venue, let's talk about that. The main venue for the conference is around Bomunho Lake, which is a very popular tourist destination. And there are hotels there and resorts and also the conference centers all gathered in one place. So how would you evaluate the characteristics of this space and the strengths of this as an international venue?
Yeah, when we talk about hosting mega events like APEC, there are several critical factors to consider. The first of all, compact geography. We need accommodations, we need meeting venues and supporting facilities clustered all together to minimize transit time and also security complexities. And second of all, scalable capacity. We need a number of rooms to have thousands of delegates. That's important. And third is infrastructure, reliable technology, communications, and logistics. And also ideally, it's great to have a unique destination appeals that makes the event even more memorable, just beyond the meeting room. So to say Bomun tourist area, those complexes basically a one-stop destination because you've got everything right there, premium hotel there and world-class conference facilities and a lot of recreational facilities, all within walking distance or a shorter ride. And also the proximity to world heritages, that's absolutely distinctive bonus.
And let's also stick a little bit on the topic of accommodation. So where do these leaders stay while they are there? I heard that it's not only hotels that have been kind of catered to the delegations, but also a cruise ship has been kind of mobilized as a accommodation, as a lodging. So what do you think of this approach?
Yeah, when you are hosting 16 heads of state and over 1,700 global CEOs and also major business leaders in Korea, that's a lot, and you would definitely need some creative solutions. So this is actually the very first time for Korea using floating hotel for an official international event. So two luxury cruise ships are right there, ready at Yeongnil Bay Port at Pohang, and it's about 50 kilometers kilometers away from the main venue. So in total, they provide over 1,100 rooms to accommodate business leaders and delegates from Japan and China. And they are not just ships, but literally floating luxury hotels. So they have like restaurants, bars, pools, theaters, and all the recreational facilities, and also some facilities for business. It's amazing to see, that this idea go beyond the limits of the space, but, they try to turn the ocean into the actual stage for, welcoming the world. So that's, I think, very creative. And it's meaningful not only just for Gyeongju, but also for adjacent cities like Pohang, because it extends the impact of APEC across the region.
All right. What an experience for those delegations.
Yes, and there's a firework too.
Oh, a firework. Wonderful. Firework on the water is always the best. And let's also talk about the not the accommodation, but the transportation system, of course, from autonomous shuttle buses to interpreter taxis. What changes do you expect these initiatives to bring to Gyeongju as a tourist city?
Yes, the transportation setup is quite impressive. So first, the autonomous shuttle buses, so they can be called actually K-autonomous because they are made with over 90% domestic technology. So they are operating within the Bomunho Lake areas, and it's an excellent opportunity for Korea to showcase our homegrown self-driving technology to the world. And another thing is, there are taxis in Gyeongju, and they have been equipped with two-way interpretation apps, including 11 different languages, including Malay and Indonesian as well. So you can imagine a visitor from Malaysia, being able to have a real conversation in their native language when they get here and to talk with their local taxi driver. So the systems and multilingual taxi service and also some improved network and parking facilities, they will remain even after the APEC. So I expect the tourists in the future will navigate Gyeongju much more comfortably with lower barriers.
Very convenient. It does show how technology and AI is helping us out here, because probably it's more difficult to find taxi drivers who speak all of these different languages, because we do have people coming from very, very different countries. So yes, that's very convenient. And Gyeongju is also known as the museum without walls, museum without roof. And Professor Bae, you earlier mentioned Cheomseongdae Observatory, Seokguram Grotto, and also Bulguksa Temple. So how might these sites regain some interest following this APEC summit or this APEC meeting?
Yes, so APEC is bringing enormous global visibility to Gyeongju's cultural heritage, actually. So the city tried to put all the effort to position it as cultural APEC. So it's not just about meetings, but creating immersive cultural experience to the world leaders and also for their spouses. So basically they have a meeting in the morning and enjoy Korean cultural heritage in the afternoon. And what's really amplifying this global attention is the impactful online content as well. Have you seen official promotional videos?
Yes.
Yes.
That was very creative.
Right.
Too, yeah.
It really went viral, featuring many globally well-known figures like G-Dragon and many more popular world star in Korea.
Yes,
and even including
film director. And we had Jang Won-young.
Right.
And we had the president Lee Jae-myung
President as well, and a very popular chef too.
Yes, of course.
Yes, and soccer hero Park as well. So, it showcased Gyeongju's iconic heritage, such as Cheomseongdae, and also the smiling roof tile that was used to create the APEC logo, and also Silla gold crowns, all wrapped in modern Korean aesthetics, and also K-style sense of humor too. And one more thing to note here is that 2 weeks ago, Gyeongju hosted global influencers, with a combined 400 million followers. So their testimonials are reaching thousands of millions of potential tourists out there in the world. So these creators are truly, I think, acting as a culture broker between the countries, making this heritage feel much more accessible and much more exciting even to this digital generation in the world.
Things have changed so much in the past decades.
Yes.
So international events these days, there's so much you can do with those. And that's why we are having big hopes that many more people will actually come to Gyeongju and Korea after this APEC. So speaking of which, Gyeongju, we talk about Gyeongju as a traditional city, but it's also very modern. These days we see so many new coffee shops where young people, the MZ generation, like to go. So there are also like media art, performances, and experiential tourism that you can experience in Gyeongju. So it is gaining momentum as a city where you can, where the past and the present coexist. So how do you see these changes reshaping Gyeongju as a tourist city?
Yeah, actually Gyeongju is transforming itself into like a massive cultural stage. So blending Sinla's like 1,000-year history with like cutting-edge technology and also with like Hallyu content as well. So you now see immersive like media art installation, like retelling Sinla mythology, but with like Hollywood scale visual effects. And AI-generated like multimedia show projected on the ancient sites, and also some nighttime spectacles where ancient palaces like come alive with light, sound, and like stories. So the city is evolving from the historic like relic city into the living cultural experience destinations. So young visitors who might have found such traditional tourism very boring, now they flock here for like Instagrammable spots and also some fusion performances. And I think this is a great opportunity to show that, you know, we have much more than K-pop. So the 1,000-year roots that make contemporary Korean like culture so rich, we also have the history here.
Now, no doubt that there's a lot of attention right now on the city of Gyeongju, but what do you think are some efforts that are needed so that we can continue this vibe and that Gyeongju will be seen as a cultural tourism city that many people from around the world love to make a visit to?
Yeah, I think the most critical thing after hosting such a big mega event, that's absolutely like sustaining the momentum. So I believe there are 3 key points for Gyeongju moving forward. So first thing is like meaningful interpretation of heritage. So preserving it, of course, that's important. But I think another thing important is to transmit their value to the next generation, not just in Korea, for just the global audience as well. And second, extending visitor stays. Gyeongju has struggled a lot because of the short visit concentrated around a few major cities. Tourists just visit Gyeongju for short days. But we need rich and layered content so that way international tourists stay here longer and also they want to return again. And here is what I really want to emphasize most, like getting back to basic, because no matter how successful the event, how great the content was, it means very little unless visitor can actually access and enjoy the experience. So the language barriers are still there. So we need to make some effort to improve those language barriers. And accessibility is also fundamental. So once they arrive in Incheon Airport or any other major airport, there should be some like seamless journey. So that way they can enjoy the entire stay in here. Korea and also for Gyeongju.
Well, I mean, in the past, there were people who didn't even know where South Korea is. And now the cities like Seoul and also Incheon and Busan, many of those have actually become more popular after these huge events that could be sports events or other international events. So I think this is really the time where we can put our focus on the city of Gyeongju. And on that note, I want to say thank you to you, Professor Bae, for joining us on the program and hope to talk to you again next time.
Thank you so much.